What's up, guys? Thomas here with Core Gear Reviews, and today we're going to be looking at the Spyderco Paramilitary 2 TANTO blade and doing a review on this guy. It's a very cool blade design on an iconic knife, and I wanted to carry this knife for a little bit to really make sure I gave it an honest review, because I was pretty hyped up when this knife first came out, and I put out an initial impressions review on it, and I was pretty hyped on this knife. It's a really cool looking knife, but I really wanted to carry it and use it on my everyday tasks to give an honest review on how I feel this knife performs on daily duties and how it fit in kind of my EDC rotation. So like normal on my reviews, on my knife reviews, I'm going to run through my 7 different categories of how I evaluate the knife, let you guys know how this knife stacks up in each category, and then that way you guys can in turn use this information to determine if this will be a good addition to your EDC rotation. So we're going to kick it off with a quick overview on specs, a couple knife comparisons, and then dive into the categories. So first off on specs, this guy's coming in at a blade length of 3.5 inches, and let me see if I can zoom in here, get a little closer. Yeah, so we're at a blade length of about 3.5 inches. And our blade thickness here is 0.14 inches. Handle length on this guy is 4.75 inches. And the handle thickness this way is 0.45 inches. And then the overall length on it is 8.75 inches. So it's a good, it's a good sized knife, and you guys, if you're in the knife community, I'm sure you know a Spyderco Paramilitary 2. So it's pretty much the same size for as that knife. So a couple comparisons while we got it here. Obviously, we got to bust out the OG Para 2 to give it. Ooh, this got some use on it. Bust out the OG Para 2 to show you the comparison on that. And this Para 2 does get quite a bit of use. You can see there. Pretty much identical. It's identical handles. The blade shape is what's different. And then I got a Para 3 down here at the bottom, so you can see the size comparison there. I'll bring it back out just a tad. Then a couple more. I have a Spyderco Delica that we can put down here. I'll line them up pivot to pivot just to give you guys an idea. And then let's go in with a Benchmade 940-1. Fantastic knife. And then I'll go ahead and flex on you guys a little bit with the Spyderco 31, and I have my next review that I have coming probably after this guy is going to be this Spyderco 31. Spoiler, this thing's a sweet knife. I love this thing. I've been carrying this quite a bit. So that hopefully gives you a good idea about how this thing stacks up on maybe some knives that you guys have. So first category I have here is design. Obviously, it's an excellent design. The Para 2 is regarded as one of the best EDC knives like ever. So it's essentially a Para 2, just obviously with a new blade shape. And I think it's cool that they introduced a new blade shape to this design, to this model of a knife. The Para 2 has come out with an insane amount of different scale colors and different blade colors and stuff. So it was cool that Spyderco came out and designed a different blade shape for this platform. And that's why this knife got so much hype to begin with, and what everybody was so excited about. So yeah, I think it was cool they did that, but overall it's an excellent design knife. It's an icon, so it's in the knife community. Next category, blade and steel. This is really what makes this knife, obviously, is the TANTO blade. So, and I think they did a really good job of doing a TANTO blade. It's got a hollow grind on the primary edge, a flat up front, and then it's got a pretty cool swedge here on the back, which I think was a nice touch. It really gives it a nice aggressive look to it. But yeah, it's really a pretty cool, and that it's a cool blade for sure. The steel on it you can see is CPM S30V, and it is DLC coded. And something I called out in my initial impressions video is, I don't know if you can tell too much in this video, but the Spyderco logo and the actual font here, both on the show side and on the back side is like blackened. It's pretty cool how they did that, and this is the first time I've seen that done. I have a few different black DLC coated Spyderco knives, and it's the first time I've seen it done on that, so pretty cool, adds to that stealth look. But yeah, really, really cool how they did that. But some people I've heard, they wish they would have put a different blade steel on this. I'm not going to complain about S30V. It's a great steel, but it would have been cool to see a little bit different steel on this one. And the blade on this is a little heavier than the standard Para 2. So there's some more meat here, and you can definitely feel it. That was the first thing I noticed when I opened the knife, was that heavier blade. So, but yeah, so that's kind of obviously the heart of this knife is the blade of any knife, is the blade, and that's what's special here. Handle and ergonomics, it's great. I'm a big fan of the Para 2 handle and ergonomics. I think it's a nice handle. It's a fits. I have large size hands, and you can see this fits my hand very well. I have plenty of room to I don't feel like I'm scrunched or anything. And if I want to come back into the normal grip, I have plenty of room, nice ramp for my thumb, and just overall, I think it's a great handle. And, I really like the ergonomics of the Para 2. I don't think, I haven't heard a ton of negative feedback on this, but I think it's a great handle. And, I think it, in my collection, honestly, it's probably one of my most comfortable knives that I actually enjoy using and stuff. It's just, I feel confident when using this knife. And, you can, like I was alluding to earlier, I use this Para 2, the standard Para 2, quite a bit. I mean, this knife has been broken down multiple times and cleaned and sharpened and all that kind of stuff. And it's held up fantastic. This was pretty much my first, I would say, high-end or higher-end knife, and I've just used the crap out of it. So it's a great knife, and I think, again, getting back to the handle, the reason why I like using it so much is just because it is a good size handle for my particular hand size, and I like using it. It's not too big, not too small. So next category, the deployment in action. It's great. It's nice and smooth. You got a large Spidey hole here that you can really get on easily, and you can access that hole no matter if you're wearing gloves or just with your bare hands. It's just, that's what's great about Spydercos, is I love how they use the Spidey hole. It's sweet, and the actual action on it is very smooth. It came to me very smooth, and it has gotten even more smooth just as I've been using it. And you can see it's effortless to kind of flick that thing out, and that heavier blade really helps kind of get some weight behind it to make it even more smooth. So you can see, flick it out easily, boom, drops down, no problem. So pretty sweet how this heavier blade kind of plays into the action of the Para 2. And then next category here is carry. Carries well. It's a pretty slim knife this way. It's not a very thick knife. It does have, obviously, just as any Para 2, it does have that kind of bulge, so when it's in your pocket, you kind of feel that a little bit, not too much, but it's not. This actually goes how I carry it. This is against my pocket, so it's really just a flush. But you can still, it kind of bulges out a little bit, but overall it carries fantastic. It's a slim knife. It does carry a little high, so you can see here, that's where the stock clip kind of puts you. There's a plethora of aftermarket deep carry clips for this guy that you can put on this thing, and that's what I've done with. Actually, I took it off this one because but I used to have it on my regular Para 2. I have a few clips that I use on my Para 3. To me, it was you had to. But there's just an example of one. I forgot which clip this is. I think this is an MXG gear clip or something like that. I can put a link in the description if you guys want, and that way you have it. But yeah, there's a ton, and this is a good clip. This is titanium, I believe, and these are nice. So I would recommend, if not to spoil the end of the video, but if I was going to be hanging on to this knife, I would definitely be getting a deep carry clip for this. But overall, it carries great. So next category here I got is fit and finish. This is where it gets a little sticky. So at this price point, I would just say it's okay. This is almost a $200 knife, and when you're getting into that price point, even really anything over $150 or so, you're getting a lot of competition these days on some fantastic finished knives. And I'm not saying this one's not, because this particular one that I have is pretty good. It's a nice center blade. I have no complaints here on the centering. I don't know if you guys can see that in the video. It's pretty dead center. Action's been great. There's no movement whatsoever in the pivot area, and it actually has been pretty good. Grinds look pretty dang even to me. I don't see any issues that I've kind of heard of online of my particular model, but I have heard some talk just about some fit and finish issues, and something that I almost didn't want to bring it up, but just a very just super minor call out on fit and finish is this area right behind the jimping, where the scales kind of curve and so does the blade. This area, I'm trying to get it to focus. So this area right here on my Para 3 and on my Para 2, the one from way long ago, both of that is completely flush. So when you run your finger across it, you can barely feel a difference. And I don't even know if I can pick that up on camera. You can barely feel a difference in the edges there. So the edge of the scales is the same height as the blade, at that curve right there. It's just flush. And just when you're holding the knife, it's just kind of, I don't know, I put my thumb there sometimes when it's closed, and I just kind of, it's just a cool little curve spot. And it's flush on this Para 3. On this Para 2 Tanto, and again, doesn't matter at all, but it's not. And the blade, you can probably see this on video. The blade is actually lower than the actual handle scales. So, it's so minor, but just stuff like that, like making that flush and even to where you don't have those edges and lips, when you're, those type of things add to a nice fit and finish. But I'm not going to knock it too hard, because this particular model is really a great example. There's nothing on this thing other than that very minor that I would call out, and I think I would say it's okay from what I've heard. People kind of complain on theirs, but this particular one has been good. And then my last category here is value, and to be honest with you, I don't think the value on this particular knife is that great. It's like I said, it's almost $200. Yes, it's a great design, and it's a special blade shape for this model. But for practical use, I don't know, for practical everyday use, I don't know if it's $30 more than what you get from the standard black on black Para 2. I just don't. The people who, like myself, who really were just blown away with or really hyped up by this blade shape, I didn't really care. But like after having it and using it, and what I'll kind of get to here in conclusion, I just don't think it's really worth the extra money over the regular ones. I actually like what I'll get to in just a second. I just prefer this one. So I don't know if it's worth the extra money. And I would rather take that extra money and put it into a deep carry pocket clip or something like that, or my next knife or whatnot. I just don't know if it's quite justified, but for practical use. But for as far as manufacturing the knife and like the other materials, the thicker blade and the different grinds, does that add to the cost of the knife over the standard one? Sure, I don't know how Spyderco works that out, but I'm sure it's justified. But for practical purposes and everyday use, to me, I don't think it's really that great of a value over the regular one. So yeah, that's where I'm at on that. But in conclusion, just my overall thoughts and use. I hate to say it, and I kind of mentioned it earlier, but this knife's not staying with me. I'm gonna sell it, and it's a really awesome design. I was super hyped when I got it and when I saw it. I was excited about it, but after carrying it and using it, I just find myself not really liking the Tanto blade. And that's obviously the draw to this knife. And I just don't find myself really liking this blade shape for everyday use. And, this may sound obvious, but if you're a Tanto blade person, then yeah, it's a green light. Obviously, the Para 2 is a great design. It's proven. The compression lock is fantastic. It's an excellent lock, and it's a great size knife. And if you like Tanto blades, boom, green light. It's a little more expensive than the regular ones, but If you like the blade shape, you're good to go. But I was hoping that this knife would change my mind about the Tanto blade because of how much I love the Para 2. But, you know, unfortunately it didn't. So I hate to say it, but this guy is not going to stay with me, and I'm going to sell this bad boy. But, you know, that's really my overall thoughts, guys. You know, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I was able to give the feedback that you were looking for in this particular knife. If you saw value in this video, please be sure to leave me a like and subscribe to my channel for more knife and gear reviews like this one. And I really appreciate you guys watching to the end. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.